Borrowing money through online lending applications or P2P lending platforms is increasingly popular due to its easy access and fast process. This trend is increasingly relevant along with increasing needs of society. But behind the convenience offered by online loans, there are risks that needs to be considered. So the question is, how can create a safer investment strategy, especially for our family? To delve more into the topic, joining me here on See Today Business is a certified financial planner, Aliyah Natasya. Good afternoon, Mbak Aliyah. Thank you for being with us here today.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Mbak Aliyah, we can see how the current condition of the society, there are so many who are in debt, especially with online payments and online peer-to-peer lendings. But can you please tell us, especially, how can one actually create a clear financial plan for a family? Because probably most of them are borrowing money for the needs of their family itself.
Yeah, I can understand there's a lot of needs, there's a lot of priorities for everyone in the families. So the first one, how to make investing as part of a happy family journey, is we need to set investment goal in a clear direction.
Yeah.
Family consists of two with most likely one or two kids. So we have 4 people, 4 needs, 4 wants, and 4 priorities. So we need to set ahead what's the direction that we want to choose and pursue in the short terms or in the longer terms. And the second ones, we need to understand the importance of diversifying investment. When we talk about investment, more likely we are talking about the risks. So how much is our family risk appetite? How much risk that can bear for losses, but how much risk that are willing to take some rewards? Because remember, higher risk, higher rewards. And the third one is about how to avoid high-risk investment. There are lots of unfulfilled high-risk investment, but we need to understand what kind of a high-risk investment that we need to avoid. One of the things, if it's unofficial and not registered in OJK or Bank Indonesia, usually our OJK as an authority regulator have a list of official financial institutions that provide financial services and products. So whenever a good investment comes to you, better we check on that list. Is it official or
Because you pay attention to the details as well.
Yes.
And speaking of investment, probably everyone here who are starting out a family or
Yes.
are thinking of starting out a financial plan, they think of long-term and also short-term investments. Can you please tell us how we differentiate this two? What are the difference?
Okay, so the first one, we differentiate based on the timeline. Timeline itself speak about the urgency. What we need to do in span a very short time, maybe months or maybe 1 in 3 years. Like most of Indonesian currently facing today, they really need to have an emergency fund. None of Indonesian talking about emergency fund prior COVID. And then COVID is like a awakening call, yes. So everybody at the moment is still trying to achieve their emergency fund. And the other thing, to make your life balance and have a happy time, most of us need a little bit of vacation, or maybe renovating house or new appliances, so we call it the short-term goals. But for the long-term goals, we can see this is about the futures that our family wants to achieve. So we really understand that by 10 or maybe 20 years later, we want to fulfill our retirement in a very peaceful mind. And talking about, we want our children to have a higher education. So everything about long-term goals is about the dream life that we want to achieve and takes much more effort, energy, and of course, money.
Okay, so short-term is about 1 to 2 years, or probably maximum is?
Yeah, maybe 2 years.
2 years is maximum, and then for the long-term, it's maybe minimum 10 years?
Yes, or 5.
5 is already a long-term goal.
Yeah, so whenever your short terms is already checked, if you already completed, and then you can go to do your long-term goals, because both needs budget allocation.
Yes, and this is the percentage. This is the percentage of the budget that we receive on.
And this is the illustration.
Oh, this is just an
It's
illustration.
just like if your long-term goals is like, I want to build a business, Aliyah, in 10 years, and then you can put, okay, your long-term goals is putting money aside and resigning maybe, and then start a business in 10 years. So everything about long-term goals is about your future's life that you want to build, but not at the moment.
Yes.
By understanding this, you can understand what you need to prioritize first, and then how about the resource allocation, your time, energy, and the allocation of fund.
Okay. And you have mentioned before about diversification itself.
Yeah.
Can you please tell us why is diversification is important to reduce risk, and how can we diversify our portfolio
Okay.
so we can still have that safe cushion for our family?
Okay, talking about diversification is part of an investing strategy, and the objective that we want to achieve by investing is first, we're securing the value of our money that we have at the moment, and the second is we want that our money to grow. So by having a low risk, we maintain our investment in a very safe, low risk, and more likely give a fixed return.
What are the examples of low risk, middle risk, and high risk?
Okay. The example of low risk is more likely bonds, the government bonds, who give a fixed return like 6 to 7% at the moment. So you won't be worried about potential of losses. While the middle risk, we can go to a mutual funds, where mutual funds is a combination of several investment products, from bonds, stocks, even time deposits. So we have a variety of risk and return. And talking about high risk at the moment, maybe we can see the trend in cryptocurrency,
Yes.
and then about stocks, or those two are more likely the higher risk. But especially if you were talking about like high net worth individuals, they're talking about like art, paintings, and everything. So we cannot really value, yes. So that kind of investment will diversify your potential risk and potential return.
Okay. Once again, probably this is just an example, but this is a well-balanced portfolio.
Yes.
Okay, so it's 50% low risk.
Yeah.
And then compromising. Please go on.
Oh yeah. So 50% low risk, and then the middle risk is more likely about 30, while we see the growth itself is from the higher risk. Usually about the middle risk, it gives us about 10 to 20%, but talking about like crypto or like stocks, it could accumulate up to multiple 100%.
Okay. And speaking of high risk, as you mentioned before, with high risk comes high rewards.
Return, yeah.
Can you please tell us the signs of a high risk investment itself?
The potential?
Yes, the potential.
Okay. Okay. I will talk about the very journey, so everybody willing to take the higher risk.
Yes, please.
Okay. So higher risk at the moment, it's easy for us to join into being a stock investors. You can start by 100,000 rupiah, and it's all good.
There's applications to help you do so as well.
Yeah, but if you want to jump into higher risk, you need to increase your knowledge. Your knowledge will decrease your fear, and your knowledge will increase your confidence in making a soundful decision of taking the higher risk. In Indonesia, Jakarta Composite Index consists of more than 800 stocks. Not all have a really good potential. Maybe it's a very limited, but by choosing the right high-risk stock and then keep it for a longer terms, examples like bankings,
Yes.
bank sectors in the last 5 years has grown more than 100%, and it gives you additional return in dividend.
Okay. And now, what are the tips? How can one actually take into consideration when choosing investment, our safe investment products?
Okay. So this is the tips for selecting safe investment. First, we need to understand our risk level. You cannot jump being into the high risk people, but you can take a very gradual step from the low, medium to high risk. So you need to understand that different investment carry different level of risk. And even your portfolio, maybe Sarah want to take, I am more likely to have a higher risk allocation. So maybe your high risk allocation could be 50%.
Yes.
Okay, and then second, diversify your portfolio. I always believe you need to be best friend with the risk, or your life might be endangered because you doesn't understand the risk that you are facing in.
How can you befriend the risk?
By understanding them, when to buy and when to sell, when to have it, and you calculate it. The basic tips of investing, it's you buy low and then you sell high. And sometimes we need to manage our own emotion, waiting for the right moment to buy. And then the third is research thoroughly. So it's very important for us to do our own research because our risk appetite might be different, our level of knowledge and understanding would be different. And remember to see the list of official financial institutions and products from OJK. And number 4 is we need to consider our investment goals. This includes the timeline that we have, how much money that we can contribute to our investment portfolios.
Okay. And there
Okay.
are also other tips?
Yes. The last two is about we need to check fees and costs, including the taxes. At the moment, the lowest tax is from the stock. So if you have a stocks, the tax is around 0.1. While if you have a deposit, time deposit, it's around 20% of your return. And the most importantly, having a conversation and monitor regularly and actively with your spouse.
Oh, there you go. So that's the most important things that we have to consider, the tips that has been mentioned by Aliyah.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Aliyah, for sharing your insight here this
Yes.
afternoon on See Today Business. And now we are up for another break here on See Today Business, but when we come back, we will have more business and economic updates just for you. So don't go anywhere.